Okay, this is a summary of another game that I played on Civilization 4. Monarch again. Yeah, no, not this one. I'm Victoria, which is well, I don't cannot see it. Hmm, yeah, that's well, or Elizabeth. I think I'm Victoria. This should be Victoria. Let me check. Yeah, this would be Victoria, which is financial and imperialistic, mm, which are both good traits actually, and the English has also quite interesting, good civilization because they have the red coat, which is a good rifleman. So can get. Don't remember if I actually have any use for it in this game. Anyway, in this game, I did move the settle. I remember because I decided to settle here on the ivory, which sometimes, which might have been a good move. I don't know. Anyway, things it turned out to be okay, but it did make me struggle. I did got a little struggling problem later on with civilization expanding. Now I had think I played this map twice because on the first run it didn't work very well. Exactly because I got kind of walled in, which makes me actually think the strategy of moving the settler wasn't the good to the first place. Now anyway, this is how when this it my second run where I at 1360 before Christ. After we met the Khmer here that are blocking me, especially in the direction, the Arabian south and the Indian south. Now I see that here I'm walled in. I cannot expand anymore in this. This turned out. It turns out to be now in the first run. I decided to try to make the best out of it, but it turns out that just it isn't enough without. Then I obliged to go to war soon because which if I remember right caused me to go to war to the Khmer with the Khmer, which took very long because the Khmer the territory of the Khmer is very well is compact and I have to defeat them completely. The war took. I got so much back in technologies that I couldn't just recover, and I decided that maybe the world the I would try something else, and that's what I showed you. Anyway, in the first stage, I am here. I, after building London here, Hastings here. Okay, as of now, I'm concentrating on getting food, but I do already some college. I will cottages here, which is some. So my idea was here to make this either a food town or a production town. Don't have later to be a production town. This would be a cottage town, and well, probably this could be a food town. Well, let's see how it actually worked out. So this is are my four core towns: London, Hastings, Nottingham, and York. Now and I'm still researching alphabet, so pretty much at the dawn of civilization, at least for what we consider a civilization. Now moving on to the year 675 before Christ. Uh, Now, actually, you see that things are not. We are in 375, and well, we are actually six down. How they come? London, Nottingham, Hastings, and New York. That's okay. Canterbury, yes, that's a new one. That's in a very good position, still next to the river, so and next to some forest that I can chop. And Coventry has been pushed there to also get closer to the horses, the gold. So one, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, six down. Well, that's not a bad expansion compared to the other town, to the other civilization, considering that I'm leading in score, and I actually already converted to Hinduism. But I see that I'm struggling with barbarians, well, which, well, I don't remember. But I have a Hexman that's always having bronze. I think this year that bronze was close enough, so it's not worrying for me. And already investigating currency. Now I made contact with the Chinese that I don't know where I don't know where they actually are. Well, I met them here, so probably they're coming from this direction. Well, I would know anyway, so now moving on to 13 before Christ. Yes, that was. I have to pay attention of the save on the other run. 300 before Christ, and then we already keep. There's a lot of tips here. Now, for instance, the tip about patrolling using frigates for patrol. That's something they should have done in one game. Well, now we are in 300 before Christ. Now we are starting to struggle with unhappiness. Now we have not more Warwick, which, well, that's also one thing that I remember in the second, in maybe first, I wasn't quick enough to grab this area here. So the India ended up expanding here and here, and even pushing me back using cultural push, and in the end getting also cultural pressure on this town. So that's also one thing that I um, did make sure of expanding quicker. I don't know. The Indian has been actually lower maybe, but this very important. Is my first run. I wasn't actually taking care of cleaning all these territories that actually should be core of the English. Now moving on to 600 years later. Alright, before moving on, let's see that I've actually sent a galley exploring, identifying barbarian towns, and that is one other thing that I've tried doing before waging wars against other civilization. Um, I see there are a lot of gaps here. Let's do this first, 221 to 520, and then immediately 1300. I guess I kind of binged playing that without forgetting about saving. Mm, okay, and where is one town near Newcastle that I decided so to finish up claiming all my core territory. So let's see. So this is my core territory with Canterbury, York, Hastings, London, Nottingham, Newcastle, Coventry. Alright, my core towns. Well, it's not that much. I cannot get that many uh, wonders. In fact, I don't get any single wonder. I'm trying to build in the Colossus now, and I can't remember. I don't remember if I actually managed. I did try to build some wonder to get money. I guess wonder bread. Try. Well, and I found these two barbarian towns that I actually will try and go conquering. So I'm getting a weird setup possibly. Now I think I made contact in the many ways. I found out also two other civilizations. These are the Incans, the Malinese, and the Chinese. Look, do not know the location of these guys. Even I am supposed to have open borders. Yeah, I have open borders with everybody, so could actually make use of this. Let's move on to the year 520 then. After so-called Anno Domini, they definitely is kind of ridiculous. They should be using the turn numbers. You hardly ever see Christianity in this game. It's kind of again there is a religion Christianity, but it's always not dominant. Pretty well, at least in my games. Maybe on marathon games it could be different with more civilization. Well, now in the year 502, I actually managed to conquer these barbarian towns, and so I will be able to get access to Dai. This this border is the one of the Chinese, so I beat the Chinese to it, and the Khmer, which was significant later on. On the other one, my here I developed in my town without, in particular, did I actually manage to build the Colossus? Oh yes, at least one, the Colossus, and I tried to build the Parthenon, the Great Library. Do I actually have access to stone or the marble? No, no, I'm building them without marble. Where is the Great Library? Well, actually, one thing I think, yeah. And what about the Great Library? Also without a marble. Well, okay. But I guess I felt confident that I could build in a reasonable amount of time anyway. So I don't remember if I actually managed to build them. We'll soon see. No, let's by size. Okay, and then let's go right in the year 1250. Now I think after that there is only Yeah, that's a good advice. We are now in the year 1250 now that there is much more information about the world. We are actually already investigating nationalism that somebody else had done before. I don't remember if I even won the race to liberalism. I think so. Uh, I don't sure if about already doing a golden age. Anyway, let's check if I actually managed to build a wonder. Oh yes, I did. The Parthenon, the Great Libraries are English, but all the other wonders are being enthusiastically built by the Mali and also by mainly by the Mali, but also the Khmer, the Arabia, India. So wonders are not going to be a factor, helping factor for me. Well, I did, but resources are actually good because I have now access to banana, rice, and I thanks to this colony, and thanks to this other colony, well, not so much about iron and cow, but also is a good one. And I know pretty much more anything about the world. I know where the Inca are, where the Chinese are. I know also these are the the Malis, right? Yeah, would be the Mali? Yeah, the Mali would be Musa Masa. Well, Huayna Capac and Musa Masa are also yes, the Mali, because all Khmer, all many of these Arabians, they're Wonder Beast India as well. So that's not I can where I can compete also if without access to marble. And it's financial. Now let's see how anyway the city will develop. Well, well, I guess let me check who is producing. Well, I have London, which is doing which is being the science, but beast. But on the other hand, the mm, what are I don't obviously okay. These are the number of people. It's Hastings, my great town, right? Yes, this has access to a lot of food. This is going to be the one they're going to produce the most great part is by great parcel factory, and I also managed to create a production town, which well, Hastings is also good, but and the capital as well. But there are other production towns like York and Canterbury. Well, not well. I was planning to make Nottingham the main production town, but some well, but it's struggling with food. So in the end, this town doesn't turn out to be that great as I thought. Is actually Canterbury is taking its role. Is actually more a support town. The problem it has too many unworkable tiles at the south. So desert is a problem. Well, this desert is really bad. That having in my core territory, a desert cripples me. So that has a great opposition. Also, see that the number of towns that I have is 11, like the Khmer and the Chinese, and which two are separated from the main. So there is no way. There is map is probably kind of challenging when it comes to expansion. So also in my core territory, also this part is also is unusable and is crippling York here, the north. So not the best map, but so you need to know a little more what you're doing. Yes, that's why probably one reason why my first run wasn't very successful. Wasn't successful at all actually. Now let's move. already to 1,460. At one point, there is, well, there are, I know that I end up winning this game on this run, though I don't now remember the full details. There is a couple of wars, that's something I remember, with the Chinese and then later on with the Khmer. Now actually I'm throwing, yes, now I'm at war with the Chinese. I'm more with the Chinese, but luckily for me, the Mali, the Indians, and the Arabs also are. I call them to war myself. I think a bribe to come into a war. Let's see if I. Yeah, there is. Well, I don't know exactly why if I call them to war, but I think I did. The Khmer are not at war, or are they? Well, the Khmer are at war also with the Chinese. Actually, also with the Chinese. So the Chinese are pretty much at war with everybody and their cousins. But it's them that declared. Because I guess they wanted to take these towns. But I was prepared. I used the opportunity to take these towns that they settled here to connect my two towns. So that's actually quite good. And yeah, and red coats are actually shining in this. Yeah, it's pretty. Red coat are fighting. Well, there is not much as of now. The Chinese, well, red coats are fighting against Archer, because actually the Chinese are kind of backwards. Yeah. Now I can see what is this? Oh, threat index. That's great. Nice to know. I didn't know this. Mm-mm. Elevated. Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Well, we don't even almost haven't seen no units of them, so we don't even know what they have because they're kind of they don't have really much of a threat. So they're actually most of the problem is even make sure that I get to their towns first because now the Khmer are at least the Khmer or the Indians. Now these are the Khmer, the Malis were well. This town is not probably going to get conquered by us. Okay, so moving on to a couple of years later. So now at 2046. Well, let's move on to 1580. So let's see how the war with the Chinese turned out. No threatening at all, but somehow I managed to provoke them into a war they could not win. Well, it turns out that this town turned out to be untakeable because they concentrated their stack here. In the end, and now only the one is fighting the Chinese because my kind of ally always signed a peace treaty. But this allowed me to take another town, Hangzhou, which has no risk of revolt as of now. That's great. And Nanjing, which has a 4% risk of revolt, something that I regrettably haven't understand fully yet as of now. Because also this moving on and taking this the full core of the Chinese might be take a while, but don't remember what kind of seed we have. Well, I have I'm not I've been playing pacifism. I'm not waging a full war against the Chinese because they are not a threat to me. Even kind of backwards. Hmm. So it's to see the possible wars. Yeah, that's interesting to know. It's something that I have to check. What about info? Yes, that's interesting also to know. Active relation. Okay, this already know. No. Let me check if there are some. Hmm. Well, I lost the opportunity to city overview, city military overview. Okay, what is this? What is the threat? Yes. Mm. This is the advisories. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Resources. Okay, that's too much information, maybe. Well, moving on to the year now in month 58, let's move on to 695 and then directly to 1800 or no, or no, or maybe something in the middle. Well, I think I got good war with the Chinese went well, but I got some problem with the revolts as well, with I hadn't still understood well. Still at war with the Chinese. By the way, let's have a look at our core territories. That is actually developing well. This has really got so much population. and it become a ridiculous farm of on the other hand. Let's look at Canterbury is becoming my. This is I have a production town, a great farm, a great people farm, and science. When it comes from commerce, yeah, well, this is producing commerce and also possibly other stuff. But anyway, now it seems to me that I actually gone away pretty much well. Now Guangzhou is actually the end that has fallen, and also down here, and even the capital, Beijing, is being occupied. Revolt. So well, taking the capital is a good, and also Shanghai here. So it is a total victory. And the Chinese, and the Indians and the Khmer are also at war with the Chinese. Well, in the end, they decided to. Um, they decided to take it on all the Chinese as well. I guess that nothing terrible exciting is happening until 1010 800. Let's move directly there. I would assume that by now the war that the Chinese is going to be over, and the Chinese have become either a vassal or they have disappeared from the. I think they become. I vassalize them to avoid that they are carved out from somebody else. Or yeah, in the meantime, I'm building factories. I'm industrializing, and the war with the Chinese is over actually. They have been vassalized. Come on, only one. I had only one troop here, but no risk of revolt, I guess. Well, the lucky of the beginner. Well, mm, not so much mixed culture, in English, Chinese. 21 towns. Well, did I choose socialism? I don't remember. Yes, so because we said too many towns, it was actually easier to switch to communism than to build all over base courthouses. I wasn't building that many of them. Let me check. Mm, mm. Are there courthouses here? No, probably. Where are there courthouses listed here? They are supposed to. Well, they don't. Military espionage building. So let's see how many courthouses do we have. Well, so very little, very few of them. So the courthouses all over the place. I don't have also discounts on courthouses on this leader. So uh, let's interest view barracks. What are these? Oh, well, not sure what is supposed to mean. But it would be interesting to know where the where units are. Ah, okay, this is are the amount of units, so I can see where I don't have units and threats. That's interesting. Whether I can draft or not. Okay, but anyway, let's move on to a following save, like 1054. Well, because then after I went to a bench, played for a century. I guess because not much was happening. Yeah, that's a game that overwhelms me with information, unlike other games. I wish Railroad Tycoon had some more views like Civilization instead of. I am so overwhelming advantage here. I don't know how I could possibly lose. Any, well, there has been a war between Khmer and Indians where the Khmer conquered these towns, where or I wasn't involved with. Well, I don't. Os, well, is it already over? Well, it is over. Actually, by the now, I already won a diplomatic victory. So, okay, so it's already over. Who voted for me? Well, Mansa Musa, Uyana, Pak, and Gandhi all voted for me. All right, well, and well, not Wanakaka didn't vote for me. Mansa Musa and Gandhi. Suryaman was neutral. Well, actually voted for Uania. Saladin. Well, that it paid being a nice guy, so that it was already over. That's pretty much over. Well, I did actually try to play on, but to see to try to understand more about the space victory. Now, and also it was interesting that and it's something that are not underestimated that Musa Masa wasn't far from winning victory, cultural victory. No, well, actually, he would have won a cultural victory at the 77. That was something that, yes, and I remember what happened in my first round. That's exactly what happened. That I lost to a cultural victory from Wanakapak. That I left here pretty much alone for most of the game, and I wasn't actually checking that. So suddenly I got a screen that Wanakapak wins a cultural victory while I was trying to win a diplomatic victory. So that's what I was preparing for in the end. I was preparing, if I couldn't get a cultural victory, I was actually preparing for a war against Huayna Capaca. Yes, that's the reason why I'm building these troops, which I end up not using. Well, as I said, I kept playing for a while, and just for the record, I my last save game is 1055, 955. Well, they still, you see all the time the screen that I already won diplomatic victory, so there is not much point in play. Yeah, and well, I still winning a diplomatic victory, but I don't know now. I'm at war with the Khmer. The Khmer, which are an elevated, is it actually at war with everybody because after they declared war at me, on me, they I called everybody to harm. So in the end, using armies, my armies, I came down into the Khmer territory and connected actually with my other parts of the army, so that defeating the Khmer wouldn't be a problem. But you know, in the meantime, other victory condition I will kick down. Now without mm, the Huayna Capaca has already would have won the cultural victory by far. I still would be far of winning the domination victory if I hadn't won the diplomatic victory. And the space race, I don't sure who launched it first. Now it doesn't say anything to me who would have launched first, but I'm afraid he would arrive first. I'm not sure exactly when it was launched. Now there is not now the thing that I don't know if for the site for this ships. Mm, mm, now, of course, as a communist, I don't have corporation in my. Well, but I don't actually have anything about ships. Because only on the new. Really, the one thing that is missing really is the information about ship. Okay, but still, that's not relevant because the game had already won by diplomatic victory 1 centuries before, so that was just curiosity.